Hi guys, I had a couple emails that people were struggling with the F16 IXL, which is estimating square roots. If you're using your calculator, that might be part of the problem. It's asking you to kind of estimate. So I pulled up IXL and I got root 70. So one of the things that I need to do is know some perfect squares. So I'm going to look at some numbers, as many as I can fit, and then what they are when I square them. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9, and so on. Let me see if I can cram that on there. Okay, so I don't know if that's enough to get through all of these, but what I'm going to be looking at, and I'm thinking, okay, right now, if I'm looking at my squares, 70 would fall in between these two. So I'm thinking, okay, the square root of 70 which is what I'm looking for, is between the square root of 81 and then the square root of 64. When I square root all of those, this would be a 9. So I'm looking at the top of my chart. The square root of 64 is an 8. And so then root 70 has to be somewhere in between there. And this question is asking, which two integers is it between? My choices are 8 to 9, 9 to 10. Oh, I'm sorry. The next one I thought would start with 10, but it says 6 to 7, 5 to 6. So because I know from here that the square root is somewhere in between there, I'm going to go ahead and pick 8 and 9 as my answer, and I would go ahead and submit my answer. Okay, so now it's giving me the square root of 14, and it's saying what number is closest to the root 14, 4.2, 4.3, 3.4, or 3.7. Now the idea is that we're trying not to do these with a calculator, so we have to kind of think a little bit harder. So I would look again to see where 14 falls in my squares, and it would fall in between these. So I would be thinking the square root of 14 is between the square root of, between the square root of 16 and the square root of 9. All right, I know this comes out to be straight up 3, and the square root of 16, right here, I'm just looking at my chart, comes out to be a 4. So I have to look at square root 14. So I know my answer has to be between 3 and 4. And so I'm looking at these values and I'm thinking, well, these are too high. Those are beyond 4. So those won't work. Now, when I'm looking for 14, I kind of look at this and I say 14 is closer to which end of my original problem. So it's 2 away from there and it's 5 away from the 9. So it's closer to the 16 than it is to the 9. So if I thought about it, if this is a 3 and this is a 4, smack dab in the middle of those would be 3.5. And if I need something that's closer to this end than this end, I'm looking for something bigger than 3.5. So I'm going to use logic to choose 3, 7, and then that is going to be correct. So I'm hoping this brief video will help some of you that got a little stuck, and that you can, if you want to, go back to F16 and get some more points on there. I won't be checking them till Friday, so hopefully that will help.